In the depths of Rendlesham Forest, where history and mystery collide, a secret project unfolded. Military experiments at RAF Woodbridge pushed the boundaries of science and reality itself. High-frequency electromagnetic fields, occult rituals, and classified technologies merged in an attempt to control human perception. Whispers of Project Excalibur tell of altered consciousness, missing time, and an invisible force shaping our thoughts. Declassified documents reveal a terrifying truth. What happened in December wasn't an accident, it was an experiment, and the effects may still linger today. Is our reality being manipulated? And if so, by whom? Without prejudice. If you listen to this video at 3, you will hear the tech guy admit I was connected to a secret phone mast. https://facebook.com/john.walsons3 videos 111-354-8634-8709 at followers John L. Walsons. Weaponized Reality, The Rendlesham Project by John Leonard Walson. This expose plunges into the shadowed corridors of RAF Woodbridge and Rendlesham Forest, where classified experiments merge cutting-edge military technology with ancient occult rituals. A December project in Suffolk sought to manipulate energy fields and human consciousness, bridging science and the supernatural. As evidence mounts, through eyewitness accounts, declassified documents, and hidden audiovisual records, a web of conspiracies emerges that links British intelligence, U.S. black projects, and even secret telecommunications networks. In a world where perception itself is weaponized, the truth may be the most dangerous reality of all. Chapter 1: The Suffolk Experiments. In the early hours of a cold December morning in Suffolk, whispers began to circulate among military personnel stationed at RAF Woodbridge. What was once a routine base soon became the epicenter of experiments so classified that even senior officials hesitated to speak its name. Test subjects reported odd sensations, a subtle buzzing in the air, a disquieting flicker at the edge of their vision. Rumors quickly spread that these were not natural phenomena, but the deliberate byproducts of experiments designed to alter human perception. Inside dimly lit briefing rooms, scientists reviewed encrypted data. They spoke of energy manipulation and cognitive warfare, technologies that blurred the line between physics and the paranormal. As I pieced together first-hand accounts from former personnel, I discovered that the experiments were not isolated incidents, but part of a long-running project that aimed to reshape reality itself. Chapter 2: Project Excalibur and the Weaponization of Reality. Documents eventually declassified revealed that the military's obsession with controlling perception had birthed Project Excalibur, a program dedicated to weaponizing reality. High-frequency electromagnetic fields were harnessed to create a remotely controlled mind effect. The project was as ambitious as it was terrifying. If reality could be tweaked on a minute scale, then entire populations might be steered like puppets. Researchers described how specially calibrated magnetrons and waveguides were used to generate energy fields that interfered with neural activity. While some scientists questioned the ethics of such experiments, others were seduced by the potential to end conflicts without a single shot being fired. But beneath the veneer of scientific progress lay a darkness that would soon manifest in the form of bizarre occurrences around the base and the nearby Rendlesham Forest. Chapter 3: Rendlesham Forest Incidents Revisited. The infamous Rendlesham Forest incidents of 1980 were long the subject of public fascination. However, new evidence suggested that these events were only the tip of the iceberg. Far from being accidental UFO encounters, the anomalies witnessed that fateful night were symptomatic of deeper, experimental manipulations. Eyewitness testimonies, previously dismissed as hallucinations, now pointed to deliberate interference with the fabric of time and space. Hidden cameras had captured fleeting glimmers, strange energy bursts, and temporal distortions that defied conventional explanation. Chapter 4: The December Rituals. In the heart of winter, December brought with it not only frost but an ominous series of rituals. On a night shrouded in secrecy, operatives gathered at a remote clearing near RAF Woodbridge. Combining advanced energy transmission technology with ritualistic incantations, they performed ceremonies intended to open portals between dimensions. Witnesses later recalled an overwhelming sense of dread and an inexplicable shift in the air, a palpable distortion of time and space. Were these rituals a misguided attempt to summon forces beyond human comprehension, or were they a calculated effort to harness such energies for control? Chapter 5: The Head of British Witchcraft. Amid the labyrinth of experiments emerged a startling revelation. A renowned figure in British occult circles had been drawn into the project. Known only as the Head of British Witchcraft, this enigmatic individual possessed an ancient knowledge of sigils and ritual chants. Secret meetings between military scientists and occult practitioners had been arranged to combine the empirical with the esoteric. It was as if the modern state, in its quest to control the populace, had rediscovered age-old methods of manipulating the unseen forces of nature. Chapter 6: The Role of High-Frequency Microwaves. A critical component of these experiments was the use of high-frequency microwaves. Engineers detailed how specialized equipment, once relegated to the realm of mundane communication, had been repurposed for mind control. Arrays of magnetrons were calibrated to emit low-level radiation in the 450 MHz range, a frequency believed to have subtle yet profound effects on human cognition. Although publicly touted as non-lethal technology, internal documents hinted at its capacity to induce cellular changes, alter memory, and even trigger psychosis in those exposed over long periods. Chapter 7: Temporal Distortions and Altered Perception. Reports from both military personnel and local residents grew increasingly alarming. People spoke of missing time, episodes where minutes or even hours would vanish without a trace. Some described déjà vu so intense it felt as though they were reliving past events. The experiments seemed to tamper not only with perception, but with time itself. In underground labs, scientists recorded anomalous fluctuations that defied standard physics, suggesting that the very fabric of reality was being deliberately manipulated. Chapter 8: The Involvement of U.S. Intelligence. As the scope of the experiments widened, it became apparent that RAF Woodbridge was not merely a British initiative. Declassified memos revealed the active involvement of the CIA and other U.S. military agencies. A global collaboration had been formed, pooling resources and technology to achieve what many deemed impossible: the weaponization of human consciousness. The convergence of British occult practices and American experimental technology added layers of complexity and danger to the project. Chapter 9: Unexplained Phenomena Recorded on Camera. The most damning evidence came from hidden cameras and intercepted transmissions. Grainy footage revealed strange, erratic movements in the night sky above Rendlesham Forest. Energy bursts, unlike anything seen in natural phenomena, punctuated the darkness. In one particularly chilling recording, a distorted figure seemed to flicker in and out of existence, as though caught between two realities. These visual records lent credence to the testimonies and provided an undeniable glimpse into the supernatural consequences of the experiments. Chapter 10: The Psychological Toll. No experiment is without consequence, and the human cost here was staggering. Military personnel began to suffer from chronic paranoia, hallucinations, and severe mood swings. Scientists who worked on the project found themselves haunted by nightmares and an ever-present feeling of being watched. Some even disappeared without a trace, leaving behind only cryptic messages scrawled on notebooks and a legacy of unresolved questions. Chapter 11: Underground Bunkers and Hidden Facilities. Beneath the official structures of RAF Woodbridge lay a maze of underground bunkers and secret research laboratories. These hidden facilities were where the most controversial experiments were conducted away from prying eyes. Blueprints revealed interconnected tunnels and isolated chambers designed for both technological research and ritualistic ceremonies. It was in these claustrophobic corridors that scientists and occultists worked side by side, blending advanced physics with ancient mysticism. Chapter 12: The Resonance of Witchcraft and Science. As more evidence emerged, a strange resonance became apparent: the convergence of occult knowledge and modern military research. Ritual chants and sigils were now found alongside circuit diagrams and electromagnetic field models. In this unorthodox synthesis, traditional witchcraft was not dismissed as superstition, but embraced as an ancient science of energy manipulation. The revelation that the state was investing in both high-tech and high magic sent shockwaves through the intelligence community and the public alike. Chapter 13, The Use of Sonic Warfare. Further experiments hinted at the use of sonic frequencies as an additional method of control. Infrasonic and ultrasonic waves were employed to disrupt normal brainwave patterns, inducing states of confusion and disorientation. Test subjects reported hearing low-frequency hums that seemed to vibrate through their bones. The prospect that sound could be weaponized to control emotions and behavior added yet another dimension to an already multifaceted conspiracy. Chapter 14, My Threatening Encounters. I, too, found myself drawn into this dangerous labyrinth of secrets. As I began to compile evidence for an exposé, anonymous warnings arrived. Cryptic messages on burner phones, shadowy figures lurking near my home, and inexplicable digital interference that made it clear someone did not want the truth to be revealed. Threats escalated from subtle hints to overt intimidation, leaving me to wonder how far those in power would go to silence a single journalist. Chapter 15, Surveillance and Interference. Every step I took was shadowed by surveillance. Unmarked vehicles circled my neighborhood, my phone lines were tapped, even my email communications were intercepted. It became evident that a sophisticated network of surveillance was in place to monitor anyone who dared investigate RAF Woodbridge. This digital and physical interference was not random. It was a calculated effort to bury the truth about Project Excalibur and its horrifying offshoots. Chapter 16, The Suffolk Project's Unexpected Consequences. In December, the experiments reached a critical juncture. What was intended as a controlled manipulation of energy fields spiraled into a chaotic release of forces that could not be contained. In the underground bunkers, alarms blared and systems malfunctioned. The project's unintended consequences rippled outwards. Local wildlife became agitated, and residents reported feeling as if reality itself was shifting. Containment measures were hastily implemented, but it was clear that something had been unleashed. Chapter 17, Weaponized Consciousness. At its core, the ultimate aim of these experiments was not mere scientific curiosity, but the total control of human consciousness. Imagine a scenario where thoughts, emotions, and behaviors could be remotely directed, a society where free will was nothing more than an illusion. The weaponization of consciousness was being perfected at RAF Woodbridge, promising a future where dissent could be quashed with a single pulse of modulated energy. But at what cost? Chapter 18, Whistleblowers and Hidden Testimonies. As evidence mounted, a cadre of brave insiders emerged from the shadows. Whistleblowers risked everything to provide hidden testimonies and leaked documents that painted a damning picture of government overreach. Among these was a technician who, on secret camera, admitted that the microwave arrays were calibrated not only for emergency control, but to alter human behavior on a massive scale. Their revelations confirmed what many had long suspected. The experiments were real, and their implications were dire. Chapter 19, The Lingering Effects. Even now, years after the experiments supposedly ended, strange anomalies persist around RAF Woodbridge and Rendlesham Forest. Locals report eerie lights dancing in the night sky and an inexplicable sense of being watched. Some who were exposed continue to suffer from lingering psychological effects, visions, memory lapses, and an abiding fear that reality may never be the same again. The experiments had left an indelible mark on the landscape and on the minds of those unfortunate enough to have encountered them. Chapter 20, Exposing the Truth. With mounting evidence and testimonies, I finally compiled my exposé, a manuscript titled Exposing the Truth, The Rendlesham Conspiracy. In it, I laid bare the full scope of Project Excalibur, from the sinister December rituals to the secret underground bunkers where science and occultism merged. Every piece of evidence, every eyewitness account, every intercepted communication pointed to one undeniable conclusion. Weaponized consciousness was no longer a matter of science fiction, but a dangerous reality. Interlude, The Secret Network and Top Secret Rabbit Hole. Parallel to the military experiments ran another equally insidious thread, a covert telecommunications network hidden in plain sight. Documents leaked under the cryptic title Top Secret Rabbit Hole AS 43347 ullink.net SAS described a secret list of autonomous system numbers and network identifiers that connected the UK government, its police forces, and European intelligence agencies. This network was not just for data, but was linked to a shadowy program that used fixed-line microwave arrays to broadcast mind-altering frequencies. At Sussex Police Headquarters, a towering microwave antenna loomed ominously over a council estate. Residents later discovered that they were subjected to low-level microwave emissions each night, a phenomenon linked to bizarre health effects in laboratory mice and, allegedly, to subtle behavioral shifts in the population. The system employed the same 450 MHz frequency known from controversial mind control experiments by Dr. Ross Adey. In secret recordings, a police chief confessed that these arrays were part of an elite network known only as the Untouchables, operatives tasked with enforcing state control by any means necessary. Interlude: The Untouchables and the Tax of Corruption. In a parallel narrative of state-sanctioned manipulation, a figure emerged from the urban underbelly known as Marcus Steele. Marcus was no ordinary enforcer. He was a tax collector for criminals, a man granted a do-not-stop notice that allowed him to cruise the city's highways without hindrance. Hand-picked by shadowy members of the Privy Council, Marcus's role was to extract a cut from every illicit transaction in the city, ensuring that the dark coffers of state power were continuously replenished. In a rain-soaked industrial district, Marcus intercepted a drug deal with the cold efficiency of a well-oiled machine. Disguised as a low-level enforcer, he blended with the crowd, only to reveal himself at the decisive moment. His presence was a stark reminder that no criminal was truly free. State power extended even into the seedy corners of urban life. Hidden camera footage later captured a police chief admitting, in a voice tinged with resignation, that the Untouchables operated with complete impunity, their actions sanctioned by high-level government figures who viewed them as necessary tools of control. Marcus's path crossed with Evelyn Carter, a former intelligence officer disillusioned by the corruption she had witnessed. In clandestine meetings held in abandoned warehouses, Evelyn argued that the money collected by Marcus was not mere revenue, but the lifeblood of a system that perpetuated state-sponsored oppression. Torn between loyalty to an institution that protected him and a growing moral crisis, Marcus began to question the very system he had helped enforce. Their whispered conversations became a catalyst for a small group of reform-minded insiders determined to document every transaction, every instance of collusion, in a bid to force accountability from the powerful. Epilogue: The Price of Truth. As I sit here, surrounded by piles of documents, hidden recordings, and eyewitness accounts, I am painfully aware that the journey to uncover the truth has come at great personal cost. The forces behind these projects are vast and deeply entrenched, operating under the cloak of secrecy and the guise of national security. Yet I cannot help but wonder, if weaponized consciousness and state-controlled networks are already a reality, what future awaits us if these technologies remain unchecked? Weaponized Reality, the Rendlesham Project, is not merely a tale of conspiracy. It is a warning. In a world where science and sorcery converge, where the boundaries between the physical and the metaphysical blur, the price of freedom may well be paid in secrecy and sacrifice. Even now, as the evidence circulates among those daring enough to question official narratives, the lingering effects of these experiments remind us that reality itself can be manipulated, and that the truth, once exposed, may set us on a path from which there is no return. In this dark, interwoven chronicle of experiments, hidden networks, and shadowy operatives, the battle for control over human consciousness has only just begun. Each chapter is a fragment of a larger, unsettling mosaic, a reality where the unseen forces of technology and occult power converge to shape our perceptions, our memories, and ultimately, our very destiny. John Leonard Walson, 2025. The answers are hidden in the shadows, waiting to be uncovered.